Hello and welcome to the show. We're going to discuss today stage 3 of the Tour de France that has now taken place, and we'll have a look forward to tomorrow with stage 4 as we head over the border into France and enter for the first time the high mountains. Alright, so let's take a look at the notes and see what I've got here. Today was the longest stage of the Tour, 230k, almost entirely flat, couple of little bumps in it, but nothing that was going to stress the peloton. Something of interest though was the bus transfer this morning from the riders' hotels from last night to where they started the race today was 180 kilometers, and that meant a very early start for the riders. So it was understandable that after the 2 hard days they've had and a very long transfer, that they decided to take it extremely easy today, and that's exactly what happened. They rode along pretty much on a much cooler day, overcast, around about 35 to 40 kilometers an hour for the vast bulk of the day. Okay, the 3 kilometer safety zone at the end was extended by the organisers for this stage to 5 kilometers. And I think on the parkour today, where they had, as we discussed yesterday, the 2 90-degree turns within the last kilometre before the sprint, there was always going to be a battle into those corners, and there was. So it made sense to do it 5k out. At 137k to go was the only intermediate sprint of the day. And what was interesting there was Alpecin got their lead out train going full steam, along with the other teams contesting those the points for the green jersey. And as they looked behind them, Jasper Philipsen was nowhere to be seen. Mads Pedersen got it perfect, and he took the points. He took first place over that intermediate sprint. Jasper Philipsen seemed to be struggling further back down the peloton for some reason and attempted to go for it, but he left it so late and he was unassisted. Dylan Groenewegen, one of the other sprinters, we've got to give him a mention because he was wearing these glasses. I'll put an image up on the screen here, the likes of which I've never seen before, and it was on a day where not much was happening. The commentators were speaking about it pretty often throughout the day, and it divided opinion. It looks like it's for an aero advantage, and I would love to hear what you guys think, whether you would wear these even if there was a proven scientific aero advantage to be had. Would you wear these glasses on your weekend club ride? 6k to go, just outside the 5k time. It went wrong for Jasper Philipsen once again, because his lead out man Mathieu van der Poel continued to have a terrible tour. Something went wrong. He was stood at the side of the road with the bike waiting for the team car. I don't know what the problem was, but he got back on, attempted to catch the peloton, but gave up a couple of k to go, realising this was a lost cause. He was never going to close a gap of a hard, fast charging peloton of sprint trained teams. Inevitably, I think, and sadly, there was a crash on the run into the line, and it was kind of halfway down the involved in the peloton, and many of the riders and many of the people that would have contested this sprint finish were held up by it, if not involved in it, and one of those was Mark Cavendish. In an interview at the end of the day, he was seen smiling, autographing people's shirts and things in his usual friendly way, and didn't seem too upset by the day and accepted that as part of the game, I guess. But yeah, he was out of the sprint. It was a hectic maelstrom of an approach, as we expected, again with those 2 90-degree turns on the run-in. The last 700 meter straight, a wide, ever so slightly downhill boulevard. It was always going to be fast, and that's exactly what we got. Pedersen, De Lee, Groenewegen, Gavia and Gourmet were the main protagonists, and they fought hard next to each other for the sprint. It was a really close, all on one side of the road bunch, and Pedersen went early and held off at the front and looked like he might take it, but it was the Eritrean Vingergaard who took the victory, the first Tour de France stage win for Eritrea, and it continues the French success because he rides for a French team, Intermarché, and so there's 3 days out of 3 that there's been some kind of French rider or French team winning the stage. So France is no doubt going to be a happy place to be tonight. Carapaz for EF Education, he got into yellow. There was much talk today that the reason Pogačar wasn't too happy yesterday and the reason he sat up on that sprint for the line was that he did not want to take the yellow. But he was backed into a corner, interviewed about it today pre-race. He had to say, of course, when yellow's available, you are always going to take it. He couldn't disrespect and dishonour the Maillot Jaune, but he looked to be giving it away today, and that's exactly what happened. So he doesn't have to do the duties of the yellow jersey, which will eat into very, very critically important rest time today before the monster stage tomorrow in the high mountains. So I think he was happy to get rid of it, and Carapaz and EF were delighted to have it. So it was a win-win situation. Okay, so that wraps up today's stage. I'd love to hear in the comments below what you guys thought, whether you were right in your predictions. I wasn't. I was completely off with what happened. I don't think anyone predicted that Vingergaard was going to be the winner. Not that he's not capable, he clearly is. But I think everyone was thinking it's going to be a Matthew van der Poel, Jasper Philipsen show. But as I said, that didn't materialise. So let's move on to tomorrow. Stage 4, we leave Italy, cross into France, and we hit the high mountains. It's going to be a brutal day, and it's 139.6 kilometers long, but with 3,800 meters of climbing. There's 2 Cat 2s and then the hors category Col du Galibier. That's going to be interesting because currently it's very, very cold. There is still snow on the top. The road is clear, but there is deep snow all over the top of the mountain. I don't know if that's going to impact how people want to descend off that mountain down to the finish line, but we will see tomorrow. My hope was it was going to be good conditions and that we'd see Tom Pidcock repeat what he did last time he descended the Galibier and took a huge amount of time out of everybody down there with his descending skills. My thoughts are that it's going to be a day for the GC. I think Pogačar will want to test Vingegaard again tomorrow. The earlier he pushes and tests Vingegaard, I think the more that Vingegaard is in a state of recovery still. The longer this goes into the Tour, I think the better for Vingegaard. So I think Pogačar is going to push hard tomorrow. Interestingly, Roglič is down on GC, and I'm wondering whether he will attempt tomorrow to claw back some time, maybe do an early attack, or whether he's going to save himself for the following day, which is the time trial, individual time trial, where he always does well. It's hard to make predictions in this year's Tour, any year's Tour, I think, but this year particularly, every stage has been a surprise. Listening to pundits and commentators, everybody's getting it wrong because it's just throwing up surprise after surprise. But that's the beauty of the race, isn't it? That's what we love. Okay, so again, I'd love to hear what you think. You've heard what I think might happen tomorrow over the Galibier, but I'd love to hear what you think. Do you think there's going to be, as there has been in the first couple of stages, do you think there's going to be a breakaway? Do you think someone's going to try and get ahead? maybe a Pidcock, who knows. Before I wrap up today, I would just like to thank you for getting this far and mention that we have a Substack page. So if you like to read your content, I'll put the QR code that will take you straight to our Substack page where you can subscribe. It's currently free of charge, so it's worth taking advantage of that. And that's it for the day. Please do support the channel. So give us a like and a subscribe and share this to anyone you think might like it and benefit from it. Thanks very much. Enjoy stage 4. Enjoy France. Enjoy the Galibier.